Hi, Marnilynn here of Paper Rock Silver. Today I'm going to be working on a set of 2 cards that are 5 by 7 inches. I'm going through my stamp stash and my die cutter stash to find the pieces that I want to use for these 2 cards. And I've come up with the car and the trailer, a sun and 2 trees. In the last video I talked about making backgrounds, so this one I thought I would show you how to do backgrounds from a blank white page to pages that have been done to a certain extent. I'm picking out the Distress Oxide inks that I want to be using for these backgrounds, and I'm going to clear off my surface so I can take some ink and squish some color onto my surface, spray water over it, use a paintbrush to mix the colors together just a tiny little bit. So when I put the paper, which is 80-pound cardstock, that's cut just a little bit smaller than the 5 by 7 card that I'm going to be using, and I place it gently on top of the color, and you can see how quickly it absorbs it. It is not watercolor paper, so I have to be careful I don't get the paper too wet, as that will ruin its integrity, and just I've wasted my time and a lot of product. So I'm doing some more and some different colors in with this batch of colors that I'm squishing onto my surface, and we'll see what it comes up with. I find that once I've completed all the steps, sometimes these backgrounds look like you're looking through a telescope at faraway galaxies in the Milky Way. It's just mind-boggling how much depth and color and how all these different things can look so different every time you do it. Now, using my heat gun, dry the paper faster than letting it sit on my table, but I have to be careful that I don't scorch or burn the paper. And as you can see, the paper is folding up on itself from the heat and the water. And the only way you can solve this is by doing this action or running through your Sizzix die cutting machine, which will help flatten them. Now you take my Distress Oxide black and add water to it, and with a toothbrush I will splatter black on the background, which gives it much more depth and the feel of looking at galaxies. I round the corners because for me the look of rounded corners put on a card is much more pleasing to the eye. I'm taking my sun stamp and then my honey colored ink, and I'm coloring the sun. And I am making 2 trailers and 2 cars. And this platform is awesome because you can go back and forth, stamping the item until you get it looking the way you want, and it always lines up. After I've stamped all 4 of these, I'm going to color them with my pencil crayons, and 1 car and 1 trailer I'm going to add silver embossing powder to give it a chrome look like the cars would have looked in the 50s and 60s. And then I will fussy cut them all out, as I don't have die cuts for these. Now I'm taking washi tape and adding it to the bottom of the card to give the forefront the look of land, so you can tell the difference between the sky and the ground. I'm adding my stamp of trees, and the only stamps I could find were palm trees. And I'm putting 5 of the small palm trees on each card, and then I'll put 1 of the tall palm tree on each, so they're odd numbers on both cards. I'm using a chocolate brown marker, and I'm just giving the bark of the trees some palm tree look, so you can see the trees stand out, as the stamp wasn't that dark when I stamped the card front. Now with my other greens of markers, I colored the palm trees, just adding the final touches to the big palm trees. Now I'm using some thick cardstock that's black, and I'm cutting out the words Happy Memories. Growing up in the 60s, we did a lot of camping around the foothills of the Rockies in Alberta, so a lot of the weekends were spent up around Banff, Alberta. Great memories. I'm using double-sided sticky tape to tape the card front onto the card, and I have added padded double-sided tape to the back of the car and the camper so they will stand out three-dimensionally from the rest of the card. I'm adding the trailer hitch onto the card itself, and there we are. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you know every time I put up a new video. Thank you for spending some time with me, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.